Hello everyone, Carl here at Crazy Killer Machine. Today Steve and I are going to be commentating over the Group B Round 3 game between Kiivii and TheNickofSlots. Really excited to be doing this for the Keyforge Premier League, seeing it grow arms and legs, and hopefully this is going to be the first of many commentary sessions that we can bring on one of the featured games of the tournament now that we're getting towards the end of Swiss rounds and into the top tier. So yeah, great game to watch. Hope you enjoy it. So thank you again for joining us. This is Carl Woodwist from Crazy Killer Machine, and here with me, as always, is the Richard to my Judy, the Abu to my Aladdin. This is Steve Stewart. Say hello to everyone, Steve.
Hi everyone.
So yes, what we're going to do is jump straight into looking at, first of all, we have Uv, the Usually Dirty, who was brought by Kiivii. So 77 SAS, bit of synergy, bit of anti-synergy. It's the first time we're seeing the decks. Steve, is there anything that jumps out at you as being either particularly positive or particularly negative? What are we saying?
Yeah, so the big thing that immediately jumps out at me when I'm looking at these decks is the two Eurekas in Logos. Obviously, Eureka is a great card to have in your opening hand, and you've got a lot higher chance of getting one of those if you've got two of them, essentially. That plus your Archimedes and your Neutron Shark.
That's how maths works, Steve. I'm a big fan of that. That's how maths works.
Did the math, mate. So yeah, that with your Archimedes, your Helper Bots and your Neutron Shark, I'll be really looking out for this Logos, because you get your Archimedes, you play your Helper Bots either side of it, play your Neutron Shark, kill those Helper Belts off, and they go into your archive, and then you can be playing them out again next turn.
Very stereotypical Kota stuff as well, especially as you skip over the Mars for a second and look straight into that Shadows. I mean, we got 3 Ronnie wrist clocks, which, I mean, 1 Ronnie wrist clocks is
that would all make sense if this was Kota.
Have I got?
This is not Kota. This is AOA.
Oh, this is outrageous.
This is AOA, right?
Outrageous.
Archimedes, wait. Eureka, Ronnie wrist clocks.
It's very typical Age of Ascension, is what this is. Yeah, well, I was trying to do it from the symbol off of decks of Keyforge. So yeah, looking at the cards, it's quite clearly AOA, but 3 Ronnie wrist clocks. I was going to say 1's enough. To have 3's outrageous. Miasma to slow your opponent. We've got plenty of steel. We've got Knuckles Bolton, who's one of the better Shadows creatures anyway, in my opinion.
Yeah.
My humble opinion. But and you look at that creature count. I mean, it's slightly higher than average creature count as well, with 19. And then you look at the Mars stuff, and you just think, all right, so it's full blown, like set 1, set 2 Mars shenanigans.
Yeah, so the big thing that jumps out at me here is throwing stars and whistling darts in the shadows with Mars Needs Amber. So with Mars Needs Amber, it'll only work on damaged enemy creatures, and whistling darts is perfect for peppering those damage out to everybody. And within Mars itself, you've got Yixlix Stimrager, who peppers some damage around as well. Normally, you would see a Brainstem Antenna and you'll immediately be a bit worried. I think in this deck it's probably not that useful, just because there's not any creatures in the entire deck that has a strong Reap effect, and that's usually what you want to be using that for. Reap multiple times, because each time you play a Mars creature, but that's not in there. So I think with this being adaptive, that's one of those things where it's trying to bait your opponent in, thinking, I really need to get that Brainstem Antenna going, and maybe distract them from those other combos that I've seen in there.
So we've not, just to put this out there as well, we've not seen the games yet. We don't know the outcome of the game. We don't know the result. We've purposefully done that for this game because we want to do it in real time. But I genuinely want to see a Whistling Darts throwing stars into a Mars Needs Amber turn.
Yeah, that's definitely what you're hoping for.
That's just going to be disgraceful. So just for those, again, for people, I know Mars Needs Amber is one of those that sometimes people get confused about, but each damaged creature, each damaged enemy non-Mars creature captures 1 from their own side. Now with Whistling Darts and Throwing Stars, you're going to be able to do those little single peppered damage, especially if your opponent brings out a decent board. So yeah, there's plenty of space there for a decent Mars Needs Amber turn, which is always a difficult card to pull off. But I think with this this good amount of in-hand raw damage, quite possibly. So yeah, Uv, the Usually Dirty, interested to see what happens. If we move across, we'll just have a quick look at actually, why not? We'll just have a quick look at the stats as well. So relatively effective expected amber with 24. I mean, it's certainly higher than usual. Got his artifact control, 11 amber control as well, which is relatively decent. I'm all about that speed.
Yeah.
15 is a spicy speed. I do like a fast, efficient deck, and 15 for me is as a minimum where it needs to be. So I'm looking forward to this deck.
Yeah, it jumps out to me as a very consistent deck. Nothing absolutely amazing that
Not a
stands out,
monster,
but
is it? No, sure.
it looks like it's got all the things you need. It's got artifact control, it's got some creature control, and it's got fast ways of getting amber and controlling amber. So yeah, it's a consistent deck, I'd say.
For sure. So yeah, looking good for definitely a good adaptive deck. So that's Kiivii's deck. Now we look at Nick's deck. So as we transition, you can start to see now it's a slightly lower SAS, 73. Again, I can hear people's heads popping off the shoulders already. Yes, we're fully aware that that number isn't the be-all and end-all. Obviously, there's an element of how the deck plays, and we're big exponents of that as well. We certainly see that 73 as you've got to start somewhere, and that number of weight, you've got to start somewhere. But there's a huge element of playing the deck and understanding how it works. But if we look at Kiivii's, I think, was 11 with amber control, so very, very close. 24 with expected amber, so again, very close. A little slower, a little less effective. Or a little less efficient, for sure, but a significantly higher raw amber count. If I'm right, Kiivii's was 8. We've got TheNickofSlots here who's sat with 14, so significantly higher raw amber, slightly lower creature count, but I mean the stats themselves tend to be relatively close. Let's have a look at what's in the deck. So we've got Dis, Logos, and Saurian. We have Malthus the Dubious.
So the big thing that jumps out straight away to me here is, again, in Logos, but it's Dysania.
Oh, I thought you would say 2 quantum finger traps.
I mean, 2 quantum finger traps. We're a big fan of that anyway. Best card in the game. But the Dysania, because obviously a Dysania, what it does is when you play it, your opponent discards each of their archive cards, and you gain 1 amber for each card discarded this way. And if you think back to the Uv deck, you've got the 2 Eurekas, you've got Lab Work, you've got the Archimedes and Helper Bot and Neutron Shark combo. He can really get caught out here. Obviously, these are great players, so I hope he'll be aware that obviously his opponent's going to be, in one of the games anyway, his opponent's going to be playing that Dysania, so you don't want to get caught out on a big swing there.
And bear in mind as well, the guys, I mean, everybody, the guys and the girls that are playing, have all brought 3 decks.
Yep.
So before they start the first game, nobody's going to know which deck they're playing. So at this point, Kiivii will have looked through the 3 decks and thought, if he's bringing that deck, what's the counter in each of the 3 decks? Now, obviously, we don't get to see TheNickofSlots' other 2 decks, but hopefully that Dysania jumps out as if TheNickofSlots plays Malthus the Dubious, I've got to be aware that Dysania's there for
sure. Yeah. So another big thing that pops out to me is the Hysteria and Dis. It's always a strong card, but the thing I see here is a bit of a nombo in that he wants to be capturing a lot of, like when it's with Saurian, you want him to be capturing a lot of amber on your own side. You've got a bit of Exalt going on. Hysteria, obviously,
you don't want to be doing
that, especially when your opponent's going to be using the Mars needs amber. You've got your own state interest, which I think is one of your least favourite cards, Carl.
Not fan of city state interest, no, mainly because I've been wrecked by it so many times.
So there's going to be a lot of amber on creatures in this game, I think, and that Hysteria is going to have to be really well timed.
So do you think this is one of the reasons that TheNickofSlots, sorry, his name's not Nick, it's part of his surname, but TheNickofSlots has brought this deck as maybe luring somebody in who might not see that nombo?
Yeah.
Try and get them to load up all their Saurian creatures with Exalted Amber, get to a point where they might need to deal with the board with Hysteria in hand and realise, oh, well, we're in trouble here, we can't do that.
Yeah, very potentially. But I mean, you do have like things like the Hapsist, which is really good for sticking around after Hysteria. Whereas your Igors you want to be bringing back to your hand. You've got the Hologramophone as well to be warding more creatures so that they dodge that Hysteria. So you've got a lot going on there. What I did find good here is the Orb of Invidious. So most people, when you've got an Orb of Invidious, you've got to obviously play around the fact that there's not going to be much reaping in the game if it's in play. And again, Uv the Usually Dirty, the other deck, has got a lot of that as well with the Zixzix Shockworm and
well pronounced, big fan of that.
And Pip Pip.
Easier to pronounce.
Got the hell on that one. Those cards obviously only affect your enemy creatures when they reap, but that Orb Invidious will go a long way between balancing that. And I think if normally Orb Invidious is one that I'm going to be discarding, I don't want to be playing that card. But if I see those 3 creatures out of my opponent's deck, I think I'm playing the Orb Invidious, because either way, my creatures are going to be stunned when they're reaped. I want to make sure that my opponent's falling into the same trap with that.
So obviously he's brought a deck with quite dramatic creature control as well. So he's got the two flank strikes, which are going to do some damage. It's got that Harbinger. And obviously it's got the Hysteria that can clear a board, which we've already spoke about. He might not want to. I mean, that Harbinger bringing against a deck that's got a significantly lower creature count, it's not really going to get the value out of that Harbinger. It might do more damage to TheNickofSlots than it does to Kiivii. Again, time independent. We'll see what happens with that as well. My last card that I want to talk about that might do some work, especially with that Demon's Bane sat there, is E on the fringes.
Yep.
So there's certainly some cards there that you wouldn't be too disappointed with discarding in this. Rock Grub can go. Harbinger might need to go depending on board state. He might be in a negative board state against Kiivii in this one. I'm always going to keep a Bloodshot in because it's just disgraceful. Orb of Invidious, you said it's an instant discard. If you've got an E on the board, then you're getting the value out of that.
Yep.
So I think there could be a decent E on the fringes play. But yeah, again, super interested. So let's do it before we start. Make a call. Who are we saying? And again, just to really stress, we don't know the outcome. We don't know if we're going to be sat here for 30 minutes or 3 hours. Well, it's not going to be 3 hours. There's an 80-minute time limit. But Steve, make a call. Kiivii or NickofSlots?
I'm going to go with Kiivii because I think his deck is the strongest and he'll know best how to play it.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know NickofSlots. I know Kiivii. We know Kiivii well. Great German player. One of the nicest guys again you'll meet as well. He's been to many a Vault Tour and we've spent many a good time with him. And we know how good of a player Kiivii is. Don't know as much about NickofSlots. Obviously, played against him a little bit on TCO, and I've seen obviously he's doing particularly well in the group. So I don't want to say one player has a significant skill advantage over the other. I just can't see Malphus getting past. I think Uve is a better deck. I think there's a lot more to do in Uve. I think Malphus is a bit more circumstantial, but again, they both have to play the same decks. So I'm going to give it to as a deck. I'm going to give it to Uve.
Okay, so both actually agreeing on something.
I know, unbelievable. The world is hell is frozen over. The stars have aligned, and all the other cliches that you can think of for that sort of stuff. So, without further ado, we're going to jump into the game. Let's see what happens. It's all live for us. Luckily, it's all been recorded, so we can pause it if we need to as we're going in. But let's see if we can make this work.
Okay, here we go. So we've got opening hands already.
So we've got Kiivii on the bottom, and we have NickofSlots on the top, and Nick is...
He's mulliganed already.
Mulliganed, so he's digging for something. Very interesting to see what he's digging for.
He's got the Orb of Invidious in hand, he's got his Harbinger of Doom, he's got the Wormhole Technician, Phalanx Strength, and a City Straight Interest, which is quite quick. He doesn't want that early on.
Jesus Christ, he's only one beer in.
What?
Can we say that? PG, say a beer in. And then at the bottom we've got Kiivii, who's decided to keep. There's no timer on, so we'll...
Well, he's opened straight up with a Eureka. That's exactly what you want in your opening hand. It looks like he had a lot of
Pip
Mars,
and a Ronnie straight into his archive.
and he managed to not archive any of the Mars, which I think he's probably happy with here. His opponent plays one creature, and he's got Exterminate to then destroy it. And then you've got the Mind Warper then, and the Fixed Finger as a backup. And is that Brainstem Antenna? I assume that is.
Yeah, it's Brainstem.
Yeah, so he's got the Brainstem as well, so it means he can get a straight activation off of his Mind Worm as well.
So NickofSlots comes out with the disc turn and he just drops the Harbinger.
Yeah, so here I'd be using Mars, I'd be exterminating.
Let's get rid of that Harbinger nice and early.
And then playing out my other two Mars creatures and giving them one in antenna, get them ready and get them.
So Kiivii in his archive, I mean, he put a Ronnie in there at random, which is obviously a really good play. Pip being sat there's not really giving him any value. He's got no cards that gives him any sorts of benefit for having the number of cards in his archive. It's just sat there as a Desania target, I think, at the minute. But
so
like
this
you
is
just
interesting.
said,
So he's choosing to hold on to the exterminate. Oh, he discarded
he discarded the exterminate.
Okay, because obviously the thought there is he wants to be using the Mind Warper, but it'll be because...
Yeah, he didn't have a Mars creature on the board, and then he puts one on the board, he'd have to get one with low. So that's the thing, exterminate, people miss its lower power.
Yeah, exactly.
Not equal to a lower power. So yeah, he only had his,
no way of getting rid of
his Flick Finger and his Mind Warper, so he's not getting rid of that. So Nick goes into a Logos turn, drops his Wormhole Technician, drops a Hologramophone for the Amber. Again, big fan of that as an artifact as well. Yeah. Hologramophone, just for those who can't read the screen. So yeah, simple action, just water creature, nice and easy.
And yeah, we're back to Kiivii, who has opened up with Logos. He's picked up his archive, so he's going to get that Pip, and he's gone straight for an Igor. Looks like he's got a big decision to make here. So we'll see what he chooses to keep and what he discards. That might tell a lot.
He's kept a Neutron Shark he put into his hand, which was
interesting.
Dangerous with the Harbinger on the board. With a board this size, I can see that Harbinger, that Neutron Shark. Did he pick the Neutron Shark, or was that
yeah,
he
must
have
picked the Neutron Shark and discarded a Ronnie or something else. Unfortunately, TCO doesn't actually tell us what was discarded.
No, so well, for obvious reason, you don't want your. Well, I suppose your opponent can see anyway, but
yeah.
this Neutron Shark is surely not getting played.
No, you want to be holding on to that until you've got the Archive.
Straight into archives with his Titan Librarian being in the middle of his board. So, yeah,
perfect
nice
for him here. And it sets him up for a nice Shadows turn next turn, or if his opponent doesn't deal with the board, just go straight Logos and reap
your way to victory. So yeah, we've got to do something with that board. He's gone into this, so we expect that Harbinger to clear a board. Something to run that into. He's only running into an Igor.
He's going for his. Oh yeah, he went for the
Igor Hysteria.
Yep,
okay.
And he gets to play it out again. He gets his player's Malison, which is a very strong card.
No Amber. He is still quite far behind, but he's dealt with that horrible Logos board that Kiivii had.
Yeah, and also dealt with the Brainstab antenna as well. But he does have a Destroy Them All here.
Destroy Them All, just so nice combo. Destroy Them All into Harbinger to just blow everything to pieces. Which also gets rid of the Hologramophone with the Destroy Them All.
Yeah, and he's got the Invasion Portal now, so he can be going through his deck trying to find those Shockworms and the Stim Ranger. And cleaning through his deck, because the thing is, with a deck like this, you play out some of your good cards and you want to get through your deck as quick as possible so you can play them again. And
double check the wording on it. Invasion Portal. It's a card. It's a problem with some of the rares, isn't it? You don't see them often enough. I just want to double check the word.
So the interesting thing there is TheNickofSlots just used remote access on it, which meant he
filtered his deck. Surely,
just filtered his whole deck. But it means all those cards that he's played, he's got that Hysteria back. He's got
for sure
the Harbinger back.
So he's what was it? 11 efficiency deck just went into a million efficiency deck.
He's gone right through that deck.
Use your Invasion Portal with no Mars. Do the same with Sound the Holmes with no Brobnar. Cheers. So that Logos board is back out. Titan Librarian back in the middle, so gets to archive another card.
Sacrificial hack.
Scientifical hack.
And TheNickofSlots going with the Saurian, using Phalanx Strike to kill the Pip. Don't want that sticking around, and then you got the Golden
City
Spiral.
State interest to do a bit of capturing.
Yeah, not the best City State hit interest, but use it when you
one lowly wormhole technician there capturing all the amber.
Yeah. And now this feels a bit of a veil bad drawing your Exhume after you just shuffled in your discard.
Oh no, TheNickofSlots.
But no. He's got 3 Amber on cards in his hand, so it might be worth going dis anyway. He's got the Desanya in hand, with his opponent having 2.
They've soon gone.
They've gone straight away. I didn't expect that actually.
I mean, you get the I definitely expected a Shadow's turn at this point. He wants to get that amber back, sure.
Yeah, but that's not. He picked up his Logos from his archive, which I wasn't expecting.
I mean, he's got a full hand of Shadows at this point.
Yeah, so he follows up the Shadows. He's got the Whistling Darts, and if he's playing out his whole hand, he's got 12 cards left in his library. Very likely that he can pick up that Mars Need Amber.
When you think about it as well, actually, from Kiivii, that's a really, really good play because he's got the 2 Ronnies in hand. So I think he was mitigating TheNickofSlots going to a point where he was in check. So knowing he's got the 2 Ronnies in hand, he got a free Logos turn. Yeah. Then take him off check at this point.
Yeah, and that's the thing with those 2 Ronnies, he's going to be stealing 3. Yeah. Lamindra, does he play the Whistling Darts? The Throwing Stars to get the Amber?
I mean, yeah. Cycle that hand. Oh, what's going on here? That weren't us, that's the recording. Oh, Jupiter's having a bit of snip and snap. What's he playing at? What's he doing to me? Whoa, this is exciting. Jesus.
Look at that. This is how we know it's all live, boys.
Yeah,
we didn't know that one was
we definitely didn't know that was happening. So there is one thing that I dislike watching it as a recording as opposed to us being able to watch it live, as we can't look into the discards and we can't.
Yeah, that's the thing. You want to be like, oh, I wonder what's going in there.
I really want to start going through the discards just to remember my My terrible memory. Remember my terrible memory. There's the proof.
Yeah, so the interesting thing here as well is TheNickofSlots is going to be wanting to keep that Titan library in play as much as he can, because it's a consistent archive every turn, and then he'll play off that Desanya. He has just picked up his archive.
Yeah, drop the Eureka. Probably didn't want to get rid of the lab work. Probably a bad shot. Orbital bombardment going into archives quite nice, but
yeah, he would have liked to keep that lab
what we're
work.
using with a helper bot. Shockworm.
Yeah, but he's managed to play out his whole hand.
I mean, within the space of no time whatsoever, 2 keys, 5 amber. Nick's not even got his first key. TheNickofSlots, sorry, he's not even got his first key yet. I think this one's wrapped up nice and tidy. Especially just to add insult to injury, Kiivii's just drawn his miasma as well.
Yeah, we're going to see that the Desanya coming down though. Those 3 creatures. Yeah, I wouldn't hold that on for much longer. So it's straight 3 amber, but yeah, it feels a bit too late now. The Obsidian Forge might sneak in the second key, but
I think this game.
Yeah, I'm following this up. If I'm Kiivii, I'm following this up with a Shadow's Turn, couple of Reaps, 2 Amber on cards in hand. Though my opponent does have Interdimensional Graft, it doesn't really matter when it's your final key.
Straight race for Kiivii now.
So we pass over to Kiivii's turn. And here's that Shadow's Turn we're expecting. Reap in, doesn't matter about being stunned, gets himself up to 9 amber. He knows his opponent hasn't got anything that can deal with this because the City Straight interest is gone. TheNickofSlots doesn't forge. Does he choose to do an Obsidian Forge just for the sake of it?
Don't sit at 3 now. We don't sit at 3 now. Not in the key.
I mean, he can steal 3 amber here. Does it? Oh, he's got
the
Evil Eye.
Fringes. There we go.
Oh, he's got Evil Eye, so that's gonna save him another turn as well.
Yeah.
So he's gonna discard. He's gonna steal 2. Play the Evil Eye, making keys cost 9, with Kiivii having 7. Next turn he's going to forge 1, and then he can Obsidian Forge to forge another, so he choose. But
so we weren't quite as close. We weren't quite as far off as we were probably dismissing to start.
Yeah, but then following that up, we've only he's got looks like 1 capture and 1 lose an amber next turn. So
we've got a rock grub to lose an amber. We've got a couple of artifacts. Access.
I think I'll go Logos here, but no, he's going Shadows. I would have gone Logos thinking Eureka, and then I've got 2 creatures to reap with.
I think it's
swings
and roundabouts now. Jupiter's made it easy for us closing them archives.
But he's got himself up to 14 amber. Like, I don't know what you can do to keep him off of this.
Oh, we do nothing. We're looking at it now, and there's Obsidian Forge being placed. Obviously, no key being forged yet, so it goes into his first key for TheNickofSlots because we forgot about the miasma that was dropped by Kiivii the turn before. So he's got even
he's got his first one, and he can forge another if he wanted with his Obsidian Forge. But no,
he's calling it. Yep. So TheNickofSlots has called it. Good game within what was that? Maybe 7 or 8 minutes, I think.
Yeah, nice quick game, but they are fast decks.
They are fast decks. We've seen that with their expected amber and their efficiencies. So yeah, 1-0 to Kiivii. So I think we both said it at the start. Kiivii's deck's going to be hard to handle.
Yep.
Didn't get to see the whistling darts, throwing stars.
Got 1. He did it, but those creatures were then gone.
So,
but here we go. We're into
game 2.
So let's see if TheNickofSlots can do better with the deck. On this one, I mean, he's going second, and this is a really nice hand to be going second with. He's got the Pip, Smoko, Helper Bot into Brainstorm Antenna.
Depends what gets played. Maybe maybe the Sim Rager.
Yeah. Whereas Kiivii's going to start with the Malison, which, as I said earlier, is a really strong card.
And that is.
What's TheNickofSlots? Yeah, he goes for the Logos.
Yeah, swap decks against Kiivii's still on the bottom and TheNickofSlots on the top again. Just keep that, and he's done exactly what Steve said he was going to do. Play the Whistling Darts with the Amber into a Malison.
Oh, he played the Whistling Darts. Okay. I'd probably play the Brainstorm Antenna, but you're kind of hoping there to draw some more Mars cards, and
the problem is with the Brainstem as well. It just becomes an immediate target.
Yeah, exactly, and you've not got much on the board that you can keep around really.
Logos drops that hologramophone. Drops
Kiivii.
the Quantum Finger Trap. Kiivii, sorry. Sorry, I just got excited that Quantum Finger Trap got played. This is it. Just a winter blur.
Yeah, he's just gonna move that Titan Librarian around. Mate, gonna go. Mind you, he does
I'll
have
put it in the middle for you.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So let me put that there for you. No, it's gone there anyway. Here comes Neutron Shark, everyone's favourite. I've still not seen the combo with Archimedes. Archimedes hasn't been showing up. I've not seen him at all.
No. So Nick's done exactly what Kiivii did at the start of last turn with that semi-decent, or more better than semi-decent Logos board at the start. So he's giving Kiivii something to deal with. In hand, he's got his flank strike, which is going to help. Is that a Wormhole Technician? Yes, Wormhole Technician. So exalt that Technician, possibly. Chant the Hubris to move it. There's probably a turn here.
Yeah, well, the Neutron Shark managed to flip a Logos card, so it only went off once.
Yeah.
Which
He's
lots
got
going to feel is unofficial.
Put it on the there we go. Good turn.
Yeah, and okay, this is a great draw from the back of that. You've got the Rock Grub to make the opponent lose an amber. You've got Draining Touch to kill off whatever gets played here, or you just Hysteria everything back. Evil Eye, it's a bit early for the Evil Eye, so maybe this is a turn where you go Logos.
Depends if Nick puts himself onto check here. I'd quite happily drop that Evil Eye for a free turn.
Well, yeah, if he's on check, I'd go this.
Yeah, there you go. This for me is Evil Eye play all day long.
Yeah, without check, I'd go Logos, I think. But with him being on check now, well, you don't even need the Evil Eye. The Rock Grub will get him off check currently, unless he gets another amber, but he won't. He's passed, so it's Kiivii.
I'd still play the Evil Eye out. Well, here's the thing: would you play if you went this here? Would you play the Evil Eye out just to get the amber, or would you keep it for another turn to keep him off check for another? You've sort of stuck yourself into dis for the next turn as well. I'm probably just playing it out. Take the amber.
Oh,
which he has done.
No, but yeah, and he hasn't discarded the Orb of Invidious, or did he just draw it?
No, he's just drawn the Orb of Invidious.
Yeah, so that was great. Obviously, the Rock Grub into Hysteria into Rock Grub again, meaning your opponent loses 2, is great. So the Evil Eye
you didn't answer the question I asked, but I'll just talk to myself. That's fine.
That's fine. I didn't know you.
The question that I asked was, would at that point would you held on to the Evil Eye, or would you just play it out for the amber?
No, it's I think the decision was going Logos or Dis. If you go Dis, you play the Evil Eye. If you go Logos, you let your opponent forge a key.
But then storing them later game.
Storing them later on.
While that's just happened, so we've just seen Nick has dropped quite a heavy Mars board with the Fixed Finger, we've got Shockworm, and we've got the Stim Rager. Is that with the...
That's got the Brainstem Antenna.
Brainstem Antenna on the Stim Ranger and the Chaos Portal as well. Incubation Chamber.
Yeah, I mean, he got a couple of free reaps out of it. And it's probably going to stick around because I don't think they've got any more board clear out of Kiivii.
I want to clarify as well because I know somebody's head will be popping off. I know that's not an incubation chamber; it's an invasion portal.
Invasion portal, yep.
I just said every Mars artifact I could until I got to the right one at that point.
Yeah, that's all the same. No one knows Mars anymore.
I knew it wasn't.
The Igor having to discard a Flophosaurus.
Oof, that's a tough.
But he's on Logos and he gets to now play out 4 cards. Does he go for the remote access on the invasion portal play?
No, at this point. He does.
He does. I was thinking maybe yes because you've just played out your Desania.
You can't call it after he's done it.
Yeah,
I mean, if at that point before I'd said no, I'd have looked. I need to look in the. You have to look in the discard before you can make that decision. Cause I can't.
And also, the fact I was saying he didn't have any more board wipes or removal left, and that TheNickofSlots knows that. That invasion portal means that that's all back in his deck now, and there's a chance he can draw it. So sure. TheNickofSlots now will be worried about building a big board because it might just get Hysteria'd again.
So we've got TheNickofSlots has forged with no amber. Has he got anything in hand to get Kiivii off of check? No, I don't think he has. So Kiivii's going to be forging so much.
So the interesting thing here is you've got Archimedes and Desania. So he might want to go Logos here. Use the Hapsis to kill off of the Titan Librarian. And then Desania to get rid of it.
That's 2 amber. You got 1 in archives already, so yeah, there's 2
there.
And then you've got 3 creatures on the board. So
yeah, it's a shame he hasn't got more creatures that can kill things because obviously that Fixed Finger needs 4 damage to be able to get through. Mind you, you might want to Quantum Finger Trap the Smoko next to the Archimedes.
Oh, we Quantum Finger Trapping the Titan Librarian out next to the Smoko. Oh no, because you want it next to the Archimedes. So the other side of the Archimedes. Yeah. Nope, just run straight into it.
No, so that's what we're expecting. Now I would move the Smoko to the other side of Archimedes. But no, he doesn't. He just kills the Smoko. What a waste of a Quantum Finger Trap. You did the kill
still
anyway.
Got the 3. You got the 3 amber out of it, so...
But, yeah.
Research Smoker Archives the top card of your deck anyway, so I suppose there would have been an extra one out of him. But yep, I mean, still in a great place. 1 key, 4 amber. Still going, so his Hologramophone toward his Desanya, which fine. I suppose it's there.
Yeah, I think he missed that there with the Quantum Finger Trap. I can't think what he was using it for.
Don't panic.
I'm just. There's big times where you can actually. There's very few times that you can get some real value out of a Quantum Finger Trap.
I don't think it's ever happened. I think he's purposefully gone. I hate this card. I'm not gonna give it the time it deserves, and I'm just not gonna move anything at all. Worst card in the no. I'm still standing by it. So after with Kota and with AOA, still stand by it's the worst card. I know it's got some value now in moving stuff around.
It's still
the taunt and stuff, but I am never not gonna say that Quantum Finger Trap isn't the worst card in the game because it is on principle alone.
I'd rather it was
I'd take a Toad. Yeah. I'd take a Toad over Quantum Finger Trap.
Yeah. I'd rather it was like an action that you could just play straight away instead of the fact that you play it and then you get to use it multiple times, but you don't get it to use the turn it comes down.
So we got NickofSlots, while that's all happened, has just ran his Stim Ranger into a Rock Grub, which was an unfair fight at best, let's say. Put some damage to get rid of the ward into Hapsis. Done a bit of reaping. Used the invasion portal to get himself an orbital bombardment. Dealt with the board quite nicely, but still at a dead lock. I was going to say a dead heat, but a dead lock at 1 key and 4 amber each.
One thing that didn't jump out into me until right now is the fact that Demon's Bane works on Harbinger. Harbinger's a demon, so you can pop your. I was thinking, obviously, the Harbinger comes down. How is he going to be dealing with that? But the Demon's Bane can destroy it. Obviously, it's a 2 card for a board wipe, but I think he's going to
2 card for a board wipe with a 3 amber as well.
He's just used it now. Definitely a good play. Puts himself on 6 amber, and he knows he's playing against a deck full of some Shadow Steel.
Yeah.
So I don't think he expects to keep that around. But I think what he's hoping here is probably for his opponent to jump up a lot of amber because he's got that interdimensional graft. If he doesn't, he's got the Saurian just to grab capture 1, so maybe Fiona goes up to 6. But it looks like he's going to go up to 7, meaning that NickofSlots is probably going to be able to forge on the next turn.
And I mean, with only the graft in hand, you're not really going to get any value out of that.
He only got himself to 6. He didn't play...
He didn't play a Ronnie?
He didn't play a Ronnie.
I mean, that's...
interesting. So
that's I mean, we've got the benefit of being able to see each hand here, but that's a dangerous call.
Yeah, it's putting a turn behind. Now if his opponent does jump up, he's playing into an interdimensional graft. Maybe that's why he just went to 6, but I mean, I'd be happy going to 7 amber and letting my opponent use a graft.
Yeah.
Whereas now you've forced yourself into not gaining too much amber.
Force yourself into not forging a key, giving up board state.
Oh, that was savage. He played Eureka and archived all of his Logos cards. But that happens.
Yeah, we've got no archive view at the minute here, but yeah, we've got 4 cards in archives for NickofSlots.
Yeah, he had 3 Logos cards. Eureka. Oh, he had the scientifical hack, so there was 1 and 1. But yeah, he didn't want to be hitting that.
No, he played the scientifical hack.
That's what I'm saying. He played that, so 1 and 1. Yeah.
I don't know what the other one was.
But it looks like
Igor, maybe.
We're gonna get a big jump of amber here, most likely out of Kiivii if he goes Saurian, which he is. You've got the
oh dear, yeah. So we've got 3 reaps. Is there anything that we'd be watching out?
There we go. That's what I was looking for there. The City State interest. So he's managed to get that, so he can capture.
So is there anything still in NickofSlots' deck or in Uv that he should be watching out here, or is he just going to go to town on the flank strikes, the Exalt, in the chance of...
You know there's another Ronnie to come.
I mean, that's 2 amber at best. I mean, you just got to push this, surely.
Yeah,
they go all the way up to 11. 11? 12? No, 11. 12, yeah, it is 12, sorry. Flank strike your own creatures, get rid of them, that ward, and into a Gargantodon, maybe.
Well, yeah, he's got just hit the Gargantodon. His opponent's then going to play a Ronnie, gets himself up to 7.
Discard the flank strike. He's kept 1 and discard the other.
Yeah,
I mean, that's interesting. I'm straight rushing at that point.
Yeah, so I guess the Gargantodon, you don't really... I mean, it's stunned as well, so...
And there's a ward on the... I mean, you keep the ward, I suppose, on the Dilophosaurus, but yeah, interesting. Maybe this is just my playstyle, but I'm going aggro at that point.
Yeah, especially when you've got the Gargantodon to protect yourself, knowing that your opponent's way of
They're not stealing stuff off you.
Yeah, steal. So
Still gets to forge his second key, so even though there was that amount of steal...
Yeah, and he's got 4 amber there. So I
He's getting
mean,
that
I
amber
guess
back.
that explains keeping the phalanx strike, because he knows he can kill whatever Ronnie comes down. Then
No, but he discarded the other one. That's what I'm saying. I'd have just gone played it straight into the Gargantodon.
Yeah, you might as well get the amber and jump yourself up. But yeah, this is where that Orb of Invidious is savage, because he's having to unstun everything. But he should be able to jump himself up to 6 amber, and he's playing. So his opponent's going to have. Well, yeah, he can't do anything because
skeleton key, but with no shadows creatures. So that is game. Yeah, Nick's conceded.
I mean,
wow.
we called it correct, but I expected Uve to win both games and it to come down to a bidding war.
I mean, this wasn't a million miles off. So let's go back. So let's go back onto.
Let's look back at.
Let's look back at Uve. So. I mean, we didn't. Well, I'm disappointed we didn't get to see the Mars Shadows shenanigans with Mars needs Amber, because I'd like to have seen that. But cards that did well for him in the first game were certainly the Eureka. He got lucky, not lucky, but he hit a couple of the archives he might have wanted to hit in Eureka. Ronnie did a bit of work, but realistically, it was just a race. I think it was just.
Yeah, he saw the cards when he needed to. He played them out perfectly. Obviously, the Miasma was really well timed. In this game, I thought it was a bit odd getting himself to 6 amber and not 7.
In the second game.
In the second game, yeah. So with TheNickofSlots getting himself to 6 amber instead of the 7, holding on.
In the second game when he was using the Malthus. So yeah, I mean that's the only thing. Yeah, I mean it'd be good to understand the thought process behind that, because he's obviously on a different line at that point. I'm by my nature I'm quite an aggro player. I do like to not sit at 6, but at the same time I'll always push myself onto 6 and make you deal with it, even though you might have something that I'm fully aware of you've got in your hand. I do like the whole point is being on check.
Yeah, it made for a really interesting game as well, having one deck with good archive and the other one having the Desania. It's not often you get that kind of thing come up in a game, because Desania being a rare, it doesn't jump up in many decks.
So what went wrong in that second game for Nick? So if we go back to looking at Uve.
Yeah, so he was on Uve.
So Nick was on Uve. What? I can't think.
Well, for start, he was very unfortunate with the Neutron Shark. He wanted to be clearing the board there and trying to establish his own presence.
The one Ronnie play where he could have put himself on check by taking that 1 extra amber.
Yep.
I think that might. Maybe, I don't know if he'd look back on that and say, well, actually, was that a mistake, or was that
jumping yourself up to 7 there, I think is just always better. I know you're worried about.
Well, no, it'd put him on check, wouldn't he? He kept the one in his hand, because I think he wanted to get extra value out of Kiivii being on.
No, so he got himself to 6, and then if he played the other Ronnie, he would have gone to 7.
Yeah.
But his opponent only had a way of dealing with 1 amber, which was the Thero Centurion.
Yeah, for sure.
Which meant it put him back a whole key. If obviously at that point Kiivii didn't have a way of dealing with 1 amber, or had a way of dealing with multiple amber, like 1 or 2, then potentially it is the right play. Obviously we get to see the hands, and to me I was just thinking, get yourself to 7. It means that if you're playing against your own deck, you know what kind of cards you're worried about. That's City State Interest. If he's got it, he's got it. If he doesn't, he doesn't. And then Interdimensional Graft, and 7 is not much further than 6 on that. I don't mind giving up 1 amber to an Interdimensional Graft. So
1 further. Almost 1 further.
It's always 1 further. It's not much further.
So the game we've just saw was quick. Both players were knocking out turns in relatively decent time. Well, not even relatively. They were knocking out turns. Looking at the league, there's been a lot of people that have been a little more, I won't say methodical, because that makes people assume that I don't think what Kiivii and TheNickofSlots was doing was methodical. It certainly was. They had very clear lines that they were following, but it did seem like each deck was. There wasn't a lot of holding cards back. It was right. I'm now playing this. There was a couple of times where we said, right, if this happens, maybe Dis. If not, maybe Logos. But realistically, a lot of it was there's an obvious turn here.
Yeah, and you're also wanting to get lucky with your exterior Eurekas as well.
Yeah.
And I think Kiivii had a bit more luck on that side, whereas NickofSlots.
What do we say? We say 80% skill, 20% luck. That's why you don't see the same people winning Vault Tours every time.
Yeah, exactly.
Every single tournament takes that element of hitting a good Eureka or not hitting a bad Eureka.
Yeah, so it's good to see both players play the decks as well as they could. And at the end of it, Kiivii came out on top, which is what we predicted.
Yeah, so congratulations to Kiivii. Best commiserations to NickofSlots. I think both are still doing particularly well in the league, and one loss a failed tournament does not make. So I'm sure NickofSlots will bounce back with the next opponent. But certainly something I've enjoyed, and looking forward to doing maybe more of these in the future. I know we're looking at maybe doing some regular commentated videos. There's going to be maybe one from each group will be a featured game.
Yep.
We'd like to get a lot more content around actually having a live conversation while the games are being played. So with that being said, I'm sure there'll be more news, there'll be more videos, certainly more commentated videos with Jupiter and with other people as part of the league, and other surprise guest commentators I'm sure will be involved as well. So with that, I think from me, I'll say thank you for listening if you stayed till the end. Steve, any pearls of wisdom you want to add?
No, not really.
Yeah. Cheers, Steve.
Cheers, everyone.
Yeah, this is what I have to deal with. You know, when I said you were the Abu to my Aladdin, that's exactly why.
Yeah, but from that does all the work. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is Steve and Carl from Crazy Killer Machine, and thanks for listening. We'll see you again soon.
Great. Cheers.